Meanwhile, despite new bombshell whistleblower claims that the president is still saying he has no knowledge of Hunter Biden's shady foreign business deals, watch this. This as House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer strongly opposes appointing a special counsel for the Hunter Biden probe, saying Americans should not trust Attorney General Merrick Garland. Joining me right now is former U.S. Attorney and Prosecutor Guy Lewis. Guy, that's pretty substantial that the head of the Oversight Committee is saying don't trust Merrick Garland.
Pretty shocking, Maria, and he's got just cause. He's got a reasonable basis to conclude that because, first of all, you look at both Biden and the Attorney General. They're pretty much on the same page. They don't seem to know anything. They don't seem to have talked to anybody. If you ask them, they have no information or knowledge about any of the investigation of the case. And frankly, I just don't believe any of that.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is we've got all of this evidence, bank records that indicate a web of shell companies that foreign nationals were sending money to these shell companies, LLCs, however you want to call them, and then the money was distributed to Biden family members. I'm still trying to understand what specifically did Biden family members get paid for?
Clearly, Maria, the evidence is there. And while I'm not a fan at all of the special counsel provision, I do think Congress needs to step up. I think there needs to be a special committee established, maybe a subcommittee under Judiciary. And I think they really need to start hitting hard, not bringing in a witness. And I appreciate the popularity of this, to bring in a witness and everybody gets a 1 or 2 minute shot at the witness and you hear both sides. I'm talking about putting Garland and others, the whistleblower, put them under oath, and for hours, literally hours, asking the hard questions. Who did you talk to? What did you know? What do the documents say? That kind of testimony, almost a Watergate-style investigation, which, of course, people forget, took over 2 years to develop between the burglary itself and the threat of impeachment.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Judiciary and the Oversight Committees have been in discovery, and they have been conducting depositions of witnesses. They had 14 hours of 2 IRS witnesses just the other day. But probably the most telling of all of this came this week when House Speaker Kevin McCarthy tweeted out this. He says, if the whistleblower's allegations are true, this will be a significant part of a larger impeachment inquiry into Merrick Garland's weaponization of the DOJ. Guy, he says it right there. An impeachment inquiry into Merrick Garland. So they're not just talking about impeaching Joe Biden. They're talking about impeaching Merrick Garland.
That's right. And normally that kind of threat, if you will, that kind of indication from a senior member of Congress would tend to cause the administration to maybe be a little more transparent. But in this case, I think, based on the evidence, just the opposite is occurring. You see cover-up. You see when the White House press person comes out and says, "Oh, we're cooperating fully." Well, that's not true. We're transparent. That's not true. It's just you see falsehood after falsehood after falsehood from the administration.
Yeah, but you also see stonewalling, and you see the bad guys getting away with everything over and over again. I mean, let's face it, Guy, we never even had accountability for the Russia collusion story. I thought the Russia collusion lie was the biggest political scandal I've ever seen. Now we've got the Biden family influence peddling. This appears to be the biggest political scandal anybody's ever seen, and it just keeps showing the people who abuse power are back in power. So where's this going?
Yeah, that's right, Maria. And what really frustrates me, what disappoints me as a former U.S. attorney and as a former prosecutor, is even when the case is built, look what's happened. They've given the courthouse away with a couple of misdemeanors to the president's son, and they've promised him if he behaves, they won't even charge him with the firearms offense, which if it was you or me, Maria, you better believe that you and I'd be packing our toothbrush and toothpaste because we'd be on our way to a jail cell.
Yeah, and they want to put President Trump in jail, Guy. Let's face it, he is attacking his political enemy as Trump continues in the lead. This is going to be another Trump-Biden race in 2024, unless they could stop Trump, which they want to.
Well, frankly, that's where a lot of this, Maria, may play out here in the Southern District of Florida, up in the courthouse in West Palm Beach. The defense team needs to get very, very aggressive on this, and they need to start bringing motions to dismiss, asking for evidentiary hearings, and trying to prove the disparate treatment, the unequal treatment between Biden and President Trump, and show how unfair, how unequal this is.
Well, I mean, you can do that, but you've got the other side in charge. I mean, you've got Merrick Garland doing the work for Joe Biden, according to the critics.
Well, that's right. And that's why they need to put Merrick Garland, Judge Garland, under oath for several hours, and they need to grill him like a fish and go over documents and really figure out where the truth lies, because when you come out and say, as the Attorney General of the United States, I've not had any interaction with the president, I mean, I don't know who in their right mind would believe that kind of story.
Well, didn't we just see this play out with Hillary Clinton as well, Guy? I mean, let's face it, then Attorney General Loretta Lynch told then FBI head James Comey to call the investigation into Hillary Clinton a matter. Don't call it an investigation. I mean, you know, her people were in the room when she was supposed to have an interview with the FBI after destroying 30,000 emails. But even before her interview, her husband, President Clinton, met with the Attorney General on a tarmac, on a plane.
That's a great point, Maria, and not to keep hearkening back to Watergate. But here you had, at least during Watergate, you had Republicans investigating Republicans. And they seem to say, listen, the truth is the truth. If no matter where the facts lead me, I'm going to reach the right result. And at some point, it became clear that some shenanigans were going on in the White House. And they called for, Republicans called for a Republican president's impeachment. Can you imagine that kind of honesty and transparency occurring here in this administration? I don't think so.
No, we're not seeing that at all. Guy, good to catch up with you. Thanks very much.